This is for the ladies and the men who want to manifest their dream husband. Dun, dun, dun. Do you want to manifest your dream husband? Or should I say, do you want to manifest your dream life partner? Because I do. And I actually have some tips and tricks on how to do that. I mean, I'm still figuring it out. But I have taken advice from, everything that I've listened to. I've been doing a lot of healing recently, by the way. Welcome back to King of Hearts. If you are new here, this is a great little community of the girls and the gays and the guys. There are some guys out there who do listen to the pod as well. So I see you and I hear you. Yeah, we just talk about love and relationships. But this week's episode, I want to focus on manifesting. I did an episode on manifesting a few months ago, around September, October time. And it did so well. You guys wanted more. So here I am going to give you some more on manifesting, but specifically, because the first episode that I did on manifesting is how to manifest your dream life. I'll link that episode in the comment section, description, sorry. But this episode is all on manifesting your dream partner. We're going to do that today.
If you love me, let me fly away. Maybe I'll come back to you. Maybe I won't.
Obviously, I'm not in a relationship. I am single and in a relationship with myself. I actually bought myself an engagement ring 2 days ago. And she's not on the left hand, she's on the right hand. But just because I not only just thought it was so beautiful, and why can't I wear a big rock on my finger? It's Pandora, by the way. It was only £80. But this ring makes me feel so special. And it feels like I have proposed to myself and I've made a promise to myself to love myself every single day. So this is why I have an engagement ring for myself. Maybe sometimes I put it on the left finger, just to have a look and a little, visualization technique, but we'll go into that further into the episode. But first, I want to start with our quote of the week. This is actually a quote that I posted on my TikTok, actually. Kind of deep, but I thought it was very related to my life. And I think a lot of girls and guys that did watch the video also agreed that it related to them as well. So it goes like this. Spiritual growth was realizing that the only toxic relationship I have ever had was with myself. Everyone else was just a reflection of that. Yeah. Let's take that in for a moment. Like, for me, as much as some bad things have happened to me in my past in terms of relationships, everything happens for a reason, number one. And number two, I definitely attracted some partners, not because they reflected who I felt as a person, but it's more so they were a reflection of my insecurities. So I was very insecure and craved love because I didn't feel that love within myself. And then when you don't feel that love within yourself and you are kind of with an empty glass, craving for the first thing that comes, you end up attracting someone that is not your divine partner because they're just filling a void in your heart, which should be filled by your own love. And when you do have your heart filled by your own love, you do attract someone who also has their heart filled. So this is where I want to go into manifestation and how that is helping me. And these techniques have been proven to work. Obviously, I've only just started using them recently in the last 2-3 months. And you're not going to manifest your husband like in a day. Like, it takes time. Rome wasn't built in a day. And I feel like loving yourself was also a practice that doesn't happen overnight. It's a practice that happens over time. Obviously, it's quicker and slower depending on how much you want to work on yourself. But people that I do know that have been in super loving relationships or that are currently in super loving relationships have used these techniques to manifest their dream partner. So let's get right into it. Number one, if you want to manifest your dream partner, you have to be clear about exactly what you want. And that could either be with a dream board or with a non-negotiable list or with a letter. So there's 3 ways you can do it: dream board, non-negotiables list, or a letter. I know people that have done all 3. I've done all 3. So the dream board, and in the middle of the dream board, it doesn't have to be big. It can be small if you want, or if you want to go really specific, it can be big, depending on how much you want to write. In the middle, you put in my divine partner or my soulmate or my whatever, husband or wife. And then you put arrows coming out of that bubble in the middle and write all their attributes as if they are right now. So right now, you have to write it as if they are already with you. Okay? As if this person already exists and is in your life. So if I'm talking about a guy, because I date men, unfortunately, fortunately, let me change that, because your words are very strong as well. That's another thing I learned with manifestation, is not being so pessimistic about the opposite gender, because if you are so negative about them, you will attract negative. And if you're positive about them, like recently I've been saying, sorry, I'm going off on a tangent, but I just need to explain myself. Recently I've been saying there are some really good guys out there. There are some really, really nice guys out there. And then you end up attracting the nice guys because, you're putting it out there. Whereas if you keep saying, oh, guys are so shit, and I keep attracting shitty men, and you are manifesting that with your words. You have to be so careful with your words, but I'm going to go deeper into that in this episode. Anyway, back to the dream board. So you put my partner, my divine partner in the middle, my soulmate. And then with arrows going out, you put, he is intelligent. He has brown hair. Be really specific. I have an example of this. A guy that I know, we were working together and I met his wife. And his wife told me how she manifested her husband, who's the guy that I'm working with. Alex, if you're listening to this right now, you're going to think this is really funny. So the wife said, I basically manifested him by writing down exactly what I wanted in a guy. And I think they met like a few months later after she did that list. She met him a few months later, and he was exactly what she wrote on that list, even to the hands, which I knew this was like crazy. She wrote on her list, I want him to have soft. She wrote this like specific thing about hands that she wanted in a man. And she was like, he has those exact hands that I asked for. Like, how is that possible? I was watching her as she was describing everything that she wanted, and Alex was everything that she got. So you have to be so specific when you write this dream board or this list. A dream board and a list is basically the same thing. With a list, you just put at the top of the page, my divine partner, and then write a long list about who he is or she. So you can write down, he has a really muscular build. He is very quirky. He is nerdy. He is loyal. He is obsessed with me. I wouldn't put obsessed, actually, because you can get men that are obsessed but in the wrong way, and then they become stalkers. So maybe don't put obsessed. Maybe put like just supports me. He supports me 100% in everything that I do. He's very family oriented. Just like lots of things, and goes really into detail. If there is something that you really want, which is super, super specific, write it down, okay? And then what I want you to do once you've done that dream board or that list, I want you to put it away and I want you to forget about it, okay? If you put so much pressure, this is another thing that I learned about manifesting. The more you put pressure on a situation, the more you're basically showing the universe that it hasn't happened yet, which means that it's not going to come. So if you put so much pressure on finding a husband and you're like, I want to find a husband, I want to find a husband, I want to find a husband, you're actually putting the energy of lack and putting the energy of, I don't have that actually. Whereas if you let it go and put that dream board away and put that list away and don't look at it and just like move on with your life, like just forget about it, that's when it comes. It's the moment you let go of expectation. You can put exactly what you want, that's fine. But once you've put exactly what you want down on a piece of paper, You don't have to look at it all the time and be like, oh, because you're almost giving the energy of, I really want it. And it was almost desperate energy. And no one, especially the universe, does not like desperate energy. So you want to be very careful. You have to put it away and forget about it and move on with your life and stay positive and open to receive the gifts that God is going to give you, which is your divine partner and everything else in the world. Because that's another thing you realize is that love is everywhere. It's not just in a husband or a wife or a partner. Love is in your family, love is in your friends, love is in nature, love is in food, love is in your work, love is in everything. Love is in the clothes you wear, love is in so much. Love is in diamonds. Love really is in everything. So, don't put the pressure on finding that person, because the more pressure you put, it's true, the less it's going to come. And that's one really important lesson. Ask for what you want, then let it go. And then the more you let it go and be open to receive without pressure, the more likely you will actually receive that and the quicker you will receive it. Life is a game. As I read this book called The Game of Life, which you should definitely read as well if you are into spirituality. It's called The Game of Life by Florence Scovel Shinn. And I'm going to recommend another book as well, which really helped me in my self-love journey, which essentially will help you manifest a divine partner, because the more you love yourself, the more you will attract someone who loves themselves. And The Game of Life basically describes how life is a game. Life doesn't have to be about suffering. You don't have to suffer. You can enjoy every single moment of your life and realize that when hardship does come and when challenges do come, you can look at it from a different perspective of like, oh, okay, that was a really interesting lesson that is going to make me so much wiser and so much stronger, instead of looking at it as a victim and of like, I can't believe this is happening to me. This is the worst thing ever. Like, people who go through divorce, for example, you can think, oh, this is the worst thing that's ever happened to me. Or you can think, maybe I was with the right person for a while and now I'm not with the right person. And I will meet someone else who will fit me in every single shape and form even better. Like, when one door closes, an even better door could open. Like, with every negative, try and view the silver lining. Anyway, so once you've made that dream board and that list, put it away. And then I want you to write your non-negotiables list, okay? Because everyone needs to have a non-negotiables list. If you're a man or you're a woman, these are the things that you will not negotiate on. You will just not negotiate on it. Like, for example, I will not negotiate if he's shorter than me. And if that's a non-negotiable for you, that needs to go on the non-negotiables list. Or has a job, because some men don't have jobs. Or women don't have jobs. So if a non-negotiable, you have to be really, really strong with your boundaries as well when you do meet these people and they're not meeting your non-negotiables. You have to really look at that. So on my non-negotiables list, I can actually show you my non-negotiables list. It's called my want/non-negotiables list. So I am so in love with him and he is already so in love with me, and it's an equal love. And I put equal because there's nothing worse than someone loving someone else more or less. I just think equal is how we want it to be and how you should want it to be as well. Then I put self-made because I am also self-made, and I just don't, I've dated guys who are not self-made, who maybe come from family money. And I just found that they're a little bit less ambitious than someone who has really built their wealth themselves. And then I put reliable, then I put funny, then I put super intelligent, then I put matches my sexual desire, which I think is also super important, because if you're in a relationship with someone for the rest of your life and you're sexually not on the same, you're not sexually aligned in terms of maybe one person's more sexual than the other person, that can be really complicated. And I've seen some relationships kind of go to shit because there's been such a disparity in sexual desire, because one person's been a lot less sexual than the other person. So I think, being sexually aligned and energetically aligned in a sexual sense, I think sex is so important in relationships. And I think we tend to, not only is it a taboo topic to talk about, but I definitely think that people kind of brush it under the carpet because it's like everything that happens behind closed doors. But we need to talk about it. If you are not on the same page sexually, that's a problem. I really do think like your sex life is a massive part of a relationship. It can, conclude arguments. It can help with arguments. It can help you bond. Like, sex is a form of love. It's actually the deepest form of love. You create life through sex. It's like very, very powerful. So if you're not on alignment in sex, then that's a big problem, especially if you're going to be with that person for the rest of your life. So matches my sexual desire. Next, loves physical touch equally as I do. I love physical touch, and I think I would really crumble if my partner was not really into physical touch. I just love hugging and touching, and just like, I'm a very touchy person. So I would kind of want someone else. I would like to receive that as well. Otherwise, I would feel a bit rejected if I'm like always touchy and he's just like, get off me. I don't know. I just don't think I could do that.
We're just going to take a pause there and we'll be back after this break.
Then I put secure and confident in himself. Then I put physically fit. Then I put generous, loyal to the bone. That's a really important one for me. Honest, humble, emotionally intelligent. Maybe you can add some of these to your list if you want, because they are really good, I think. Cosmopolitan, just because I would want someone who, cosmopolitan means like well-traveled, like knows the world, I guess. Entrepreneurial spirited, I think, is really something that I'm looking for, because I think I feel very entrepreneurial. I'm very creative in the way that I do business and the way I make money. So I would also want someone who is creative, and I feel like when you're entrepreneurial, you can travel as well and work from a laptop, I think, which is what I do. I work from my phone. So it makes sense. I don't think I could date someone who's tied to a desk working in a city job. Then I put family oriented. My family is my everything. My family is my all. So if they didn't have strong family values, I don't think we could be in a relationship. Then I put selfless. I think being selfless is important. Selfless / generous. Healthy body / mind. So yeah, open-minded, supportive, kind-hearted, and spiritual. That's what I put. So yeah, I hope that helps you come up with your non-negotiable list. I made that list a year and a bit, nearly 2 years ago. Still single. No, I'm joking. I was in a relationship in that time. But yeah. And then I also want you, with that non-negotiable list, this is another thing you should do whilst you're manifesting your partner, is read that list. And I want you to, instead of saying he is, you just put I am. Because you attract what you are. And if you are not all those things on that list that you want your partner to be, then you need to work on those things. So for example, back to my non-negotiable list, there's one I kind of struggled with in particular. I'm so in love with him and he is already so in love with me. If I put that to an I am, it's I am so in love with myself. And I have struggled with, and I think a lot of women can relate here, with loving yourself. And I think saying I am so in love with myself can come across as quite braggy and quite up myself and quite arrogant. But why? Why is it arrogant to say I'm so in love with myself? Because we should all be so inherently in love with ourselves. Because if you're not in love with yourself and if you don't think of yourself as an amazing person, beautiful and all of those amazing things, you're not going to attract someone who also loves themselves. Because again, like attracts like. So that was one I really struggled with. I actually went to a relationship coach and she helped me like work through why it was so difficult for me to say I am so in love with myself, because for so long I hated myself. Hate's a strong word, but I disliked myself, and I did a lot of things, and still do to this day, acts of not self-love, like, going out and intoxicating myself or eating shit food. That's not an act of self-love. If you really love yourself, you're taking care of your body, which essentially takes care of your mind. Same with social media. You hate yourself really if you're spending hours and hours and hours a day on social media. It's not good for you. And you can feel it. You can really feel when you spend a long time on socials, because you just feel depleted and you feel kind of depressed. That's not an act of self-love. An act of self-love is putting your phone away for long amounts of time, as long as you can, because when you're on your phone, you're not present. And happiness lies in the present moment. Anyway, moving on. So saying, I am reliable, I am funny, I am super intelligent, I match my own sexual desire. That's a funny one. Ladies, if you're listening to this, and men, start loving yourself on your own. Get some candles and really make love to yourself. I know this is like, I personally haven't done it yet. I'm going to set a challenge for myself this weekend to make love to myself. I will make this challenge to myself. I'm going to light some candles. I'm going to get my nicest lingerie. I actually bought myself some lingerie and I'm not in a relationship. I think that's an act of self-love. I'm wearing it right now. I actually am. I'm going to show you my lingerie. No, I bought it from H&M and it's really sexy. And I feel really sexy underneath this outfit. Not going to lie. So that's another thing. If you want to love yourself, like, wear some nice lingerie. Buy some nice lingerie for yourself. No man's going to see me tonight. I'm going to see myself tonight when I take my clothes off. And I'm going to look at myself in the mirror and be like, wow, Chiara, you're sexy. Like, go make love to yourself. No. But seriously, if you can't masturbate and really love yourself, how are you going to have good sex with someone if you can't even touch yourself and love yourself? I know this is a lot, but I think it's very important. And I'm a 25, nearly 26-year-old woman. I should be able to talk about sex without cringing. But anyway, so go through your non-negotiables list and you have to say, if you want something in your partner, you have to be able to say it about yourself. So I am humble, I am emotionally intelligent, I am cosmopolitan. And I genuinely believe that I am all of these things. I am self-made. I love physical touch. I am cosmopolitan. I am open-minded. I am healthy. I am selfless. I am supportive of myself. Okay, maybe not that one. I definitely need to not, because I'm more of a self-critic than a supportive number one fan. But you realize when you go through this list and you'll feel where there's restraint when you're saying these things to yourself. Like, I am my number one fan. I find that a little bit difficult to say as well. And the points which are difficult to say for you, work on those. Those are the parts that you should be working on. Like saying to myself, I am funny. I am hilarious. I think I'm fucking hilarious. I don't need to work on that because I know that inherently I think I'm really funny. Supportive, my number one fan, something I should work on. So do that if you want to manifest your partner. You have to be what you attract. One more thing. If you want to manifest your divine partner, we've done the dream board, we've done the list, we've done the non-negotiable. You have to become the love of your life. If you want to attract the love of your life, and I know this is cringe, and I'm really sorry to the people who believe that Prince Charming is coming to save you or Princess is coming to save you. This is something that I had to learn this year. There's no Prince Charming. No Prince Charming is coming to save you from your problems. And if you have that idea in your head right now, I really suggest you squish it. As heartbreaking as it is, you can still have your fairy tale, but you can be your own Prince Charming. And that was something that was really difficult for me to understand, is the fact that I will not attract the love of my life if I don't love myself. I will not. Because you have to be so happy with yourself if you want to attract the love of your life. Because again, we're all vibrating at, if you're vibrating at a lower frequency, you're going to attract someone at a lower frequency. If you're vibrating at such a high frequency, that's when you're going to attract someone also at a very high frequency. So the work has to actually start with you. And the way I suggest you do that is every action. I actually saw this on a video the other day. Every action that you take in your life, you have to think, is this an act of self-love? So before you pick up a chocolate bar, and a chocolate bar can sometimes be an act of self-love because it's comfort. But for example, if you go to the club and you pick up a drink, a glass of alcohol, you have to think to yourself, is this an act of self-love or self-loathing? If me drinking this glass of alcohol is an act of self-loathing, maybe question and maybe put it down. If you are going to eat a salad, is this an act of self-love or is this an act of self-loathing? If it's an act of self-love, then do it. Do everything, every action that you make and every choice that you make, try and make it an act of self-love. It can even go down to meeting people that you don't really want to go and meet up with. An act of self-love is saying no and saying yes to yourself. So the more you do things that are acts and choices of self-love, the more you will actually start to love yourself more and respect yourself more. And in that way, you will then attract someone who every single day makes choices to love themselves as well. So I'm going to leave you with that. I hope today you make an act of self-love, or maybe just make, I don't know if you're at home right now or you're on the train, try and when you're going through your day to day and you're making choices, because everything in life is your choice and you are in control of your life. Just think to yourself, is this an act of self-love or an act of self-loathing? And the more acts of self-love you make, the more you will love yourself. And the more you love yourself, the more you will attract the love of your life. So that's what I'm going to leave you with. I love myself so much, and you should too. But it's a process again. I don't love myself 100,000,000% yet. But by saying that to myself, I love myself so much. It's a little bit uncomfortable at first, but you get used to it. I love myself so much. Another thing I'm going to suggest before I go, mirror work. Go and stand in the mirror. Sorry, I forgot about this completely. Stand in front of the mirror every single morning or every single night and tell yourself sweet nothings. Look in the mirror and say, I am beautiful. I am intelligent. I am stunning. I love my hair. I love my eyes. Even if you've got a spot on your skin, I love the spot on my skin because it's getting rid of the toxins that are inside my body. I love my hands. I love my nails. I love my legs. I love my feet. Just like really repeat yourself. I love this about me. And just say that. And I know it's uncomfortable to begin with, but once you move past that discomfort, you'll start to believe it. The more you say things and the more you repeat to yourself these words of self-love, the more you'll start to believe them. And honestly, recently, I've been starting to believe it. It's been a while, I've been telling myself, and I guess faking it for a long time, but now I can say confidently, more confidently now than before. I wouldn't say it with full confidence now. It's still a journey and a process. I love myself way more now than I did before. And I can't wait for you to start feeling like that as well. Because probably the reason that you're attracting douchebags and girls or guys that don't appreciate you is because you don't appreciate yourself. So just let that sink in. And if you really want to manifest the love of your life, you need to become the love of your life. I love you. I love me. I love everyone. And I will see you next week on King of Hearts. And buy yourself an engagement ring. That's another thing. Buy yourself an engagement ring. Why not? Maybe if it's not an engagement ring, just buy yourself a really nice ring and wear it every day and be like, this is my act of self-love. I look at it all the time and I'm like, oh my God, I love it. It's so pretty. But yeah, I love you and I'll see you next week.
Maybe
Bye.
I won't.